Awesome. Okay, so welcome to our big team call tonight, you guys. We are honored with Megan Rempel. If you want to creep her Facebook or Instagram, she's Megan Darling Rempel. And I had asked her to speak on our call tonight because her and I connected on the Canadian 5-Star Diamond Mastermind call. And she spoke the one day, and I just thought, holy, I need to connect with this woman. She is somebody after my own heart. I think you said something along the lines of, we decided to do it and then we did it. And that's kind of how Elite happened last year for her. It's how it happened for me. We kind of just said, should we do it? Let's do it, and kind of put our heads down together. And it is totally a team effort. So Megan is a wife. She's a mom of 4. She's a registered nurse. She's been coaching for 4 years. And here are some of her stats. She's a 5-star diamond coach in her first business center. She's a 2-star diamond coach in her second business center. And she is a diamond coach in her third business center. So Megan is doing some things that you guys are going to want to listen to. That is creating deep roots. And for anybody that isn't aware, all your new coaches and stuff, as soon as you hit 2-star diamond in your business, which means you have 2 active diamonds underneath of you, you get to open a secondary business center. So it's another chance for you to basically expand yourself and create more streams of income through your own coaching center. All of that to say that Megan is doing some epic stuff, and I'm really, really excited. She's going to talk to us tonight about how she fits in her business activities every single day, even though she's got a crazy schedule. So was that right? Did I miss anything on that?
No, that sounds about right.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to mute myself and you take the floor.
Okay. It's crazy hearing all of that stuff, because I don't think that I'm doing anything epic. And I know that I'm not doing anything more than what everybody else can be doing, because I keep things like super, super simple. You're never going to see a slide from me. So there's no slides tonight, because that just isn't a priority for me. And creating things like that, I don't carve out the time for it, because I know I'm going to have to pull it from my life, just because of I hate the term busy, but how busy I am as a mom. So I try to keep things super, super simple, super duplicatable for my team. And I'm just going to share with you guys what I basically do in a day. And it's what I have done every single day for about 4 years. So my first year as a coach, actually, my team is we're just a small, kind of baby team, because my upline and I sort of started around the same time, and we figured out this business together. So I was never put into any training. I was never we just kind of started watching YouTube videos and watched top coaches and how they were building a business. We were like, ooh, let's try this. Ooh, let's do that. So I was never put into any training that, all of you guys have access to now, and all of my coaches have access to now. So you can totally do this business because you have more resources than I ever did. And so for my first year of business, I really didn't take full advantage of the business. I was actually kind of like a closet coach, I call myself. And I really didn't tell many people about what I was doing. I posted in a private group that I invited people into. So the outside world had no clue what I was doing. And I was slowly building this business and starting to earn an income. But I did not post on my personal page ever. I kept it all hidden in a group. And I didn't actually start posting on my personal page until maybe a month or 2 ago. For real, I didn't. I never posted on my personal page. I started up a page about 2 years ago, and I started Instagram 1 year ago. So even Instagram stories and stuff are not natural to me. A year ago, I don't even think I was doing Insta stories. I remember being on the Success Club trip last year, and everybody's doing all these Insta stories, and I'm I don't even get what you guys are doing. Why? I didn't understand the purpose of it. I thought I was kind of dumb. Trust me when I say you guys can do this, because social media is not my strong suit. Being creative is not, but I am really good with connecting to people And I am really good at just and doing the work that needs to be done every single day, no matter what. So I think we all know, like, we all know what to do as a coach because it is very simple. We just need to show up for ourselves every single day. We need to work on our own health and fitness. We need to share that with other people, and we need to invite them to do what we're doing. That's what this business is. We can overcomplicate it, but that is exactly what it is. So every single day, you just need to wake up and you need to say, I need to work on myself today, and I need to share that with others, and I need to invite them to do the same. That's it. Forget about all the other stuff and just focus on that. So here is what I do every single day. My routine really starts the night before. So for instance, when I get off of this call tonight, because it's 9 o'clock already at night for me, I will be getting out my list. I have literally like a notebook, and every day, like, there's Monday's list, there's today's list, and then I will start a Wednesday list. And at night before I go to bed, I write down everything that I need to do the following day. Business building activities, like I'll literally write follow-ups, invite, connect, appointment, call the dentist. I have to like call about our benefits, like just like literally everything that I need to do tomorrow in my life will go on this piece of paper, so that when I go to bed tonight, I don't have like anxiety of all of the stuff I need to do tomorrow. It's like a brain dump. And when you get that onto paper, it means that you are going to start your next day on the right foot. So my morning routine then starts at 5 a.m. every single day. And I am diligent about this. And I'm not saying that you need to get up at 5 a.m. because everybody has like different situations in their life. But I have 4 little kids. So they are 9, 8, almost 7, and 3. So if I want to have any time alone in my day, it's at 5 a.m. Side note, my husband, I do have a husband, but he is never here. He's never home. Like maybe one day a week he will be at home. But other than that, he is like working away from home. He's working 12-hour night shifts 6 days a week. Like he works out on the pipeline. Like he's just gone. So it's all on me. So I have had to really be strategic with this business. So my morning routine starts at 5 a.m., non-negotiable. And I did this even a few years ago when I had a newborn and I was not sleeping through the night. My kids still do not sleep through the night. I'm co-sleeping with my 3-year-old. He's in there waiting for me right now. So I'm not like getting all this amazing sleep and then being able to wake up at 5 a.m. bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I'm making the decision to wake up at 5 a.m., not just for my business, but for myself. So I wake up at 5, and the first thing I do is not jump on social media. So don't make that mistake. I come into my office, and this might sound just kind of silly, but setting your environment up for success is really, really important. So I have a diffuser, which I have going right now. I'll have my Energize out. I have my books. I have like a cozy blanket so that I'm excited to get started with my morning. Before I had an office, because this is new for me having an office, my like morning routine took place on my couch. But I made sure that it was all set up the night before so that it was like inviting to come into and start my day. So I start with personal development, non-negotiable. I am reading right now. Oh, it's underneath my laptop. Chillpreneur. I don't know if you guys have read this, but it is so good, and I highly recommend it. Denise Duffield Thomas. Really, really good. So I'm reading that right now. And my morning routine really is like from 5 a.m. till 6 a.m. It is me. It has nothing to do with my business. I read personal development. Maybe I'll do a little bit of journaling depending on how I feel. I will do some meditation. I'll do some affirmations. I've got like all of my little woo-woo cards that maybe I'll look through. But really from 5 till 6, it is me. I will not go on my phone. I will not look at my business because it is so important that I carve out that time for myself. At 6 a.m., from about 6 till 6:20, there's like kind of this period of like, okay, I really got to go to, but I don't want to. I really don't like working out, to be honest. So from like 6 to 6:20, when I'm normally procrastinating my workout, that is when I actually will create 1 to 2 posts that I will use that day for social media. So I used to just like post on the fly, and, you know, it would be like 7:30 at night, and I'd be like, oh my God, what am I going to post tonight? And I mean, by that time of day, I look like a wreck. So there's nobody wants to see that kind of a selfie on social media. So I was just always like stressing over my social media content until I started getting intentional about it. So I take 20 minutes in the morning, and if it's taking you longer than 20 minutes to create 1 to 2 posts for the day, you're overthinking it. And you're probably looking at other people's posts to get ideas, and you're like, oh, like just overthinking all of it. Just quickly think about how you feel right in that moment. Think about what's like coming up for you. That's why spending an hour on yourself, or however long you can carve out, will help you, because that is when I pull out my posts, when I'm meditating, when I'm reading personal development, when I'm journaling. That's when I'm able to create content. So in like the 6 to 6:20 period, I write at least 1 post for the day, sometimes 2. So I always post once a day, no matter what. The odd time, like most days, I'll probably do two social media posts, like on Instagram and Facebook. So I will just create that content, and I'm gonna go into a little bit about how I actually come up with what content to use which day. So that's what I do. Make my posts just kind of a rough draft. I'll type them out, and then I have like this sense of relief that I know what I'm going to be posting, because I don't know if you guys stress over that kind of stuff, but I definitely stress if I do not have like social media content planned out. And then I go work out at 6:30, and I always do it like with my team. We do a virtual workout in the morning. Otherwise, I may not show up for my workout, if I'm being honest. And then from like 7 until 9, I'm a mom. Like, I don't know if you guys have kids. I see some of you guys do, because they're on this call. But I will then like put my stuff away. I'll try to be really intentional about not doing any work. And it's like lunches and kids stuff and mom stuff, right? All that like morning before school. Once I get my kids off to school, I come home and it is business building time. So this is when you need to be really clear and ask yourself, what are my business building activities? Because, you know, creating content for your posts isn't necessarily business building activities. So you have to really ask yourself, if when you're sitting down to work, are you doing things that are going to directly move your business forward? Hopefully you all are using the tracker, the Success Club tracker. So this is just like a bunch of mine from like the last few weeks. If you aren't using this, in my opinion, you're not really working your business, unless you have your own tracker that you use. But you need to be using this tracker, because it has everything on it that I'm going to kind of go over. But what I do first is I just write on my to-do list at night something called likes, comments, invites. So that is one of my to-dos. And that is also on the tracker, if you notice. How I do this is I immediately go to all of my posts from the day before. So this morning, I went and looked at Monday's Instagram. I look at who likes my posts, and I look at who's been commenting on my posts, and I respond back to any comments, because I personally am not a slave to my social media, meaning I'm not checking my notifications all day, every day. So when someone comments on something right away, I'm not there to respond, because I'm trying not to be a slave to my social media. So, and you know, people will probably tell you something different, like you need to be immediately replying for the algorithm. Well, like that's not realistic to be sitting there on your phone all day long. That's not why I wanted to do this business. So in the morning, I'll look at everything from yesterday, and I'll start commenting, engaging back and forth with people. I will reach out to those people who have commented. and I will reach out to everyone who likes my posts. And it depends. I can't give you like a script I say to these people because it's individual. If this is somebody who I have never seen before on my social media, I'm not going to like immediately invite them to my challenge group or my team. I just simply want to connect with them, because connecting is like a business building activity, right? We have to connect with people. So this is how I connect with people, is I see who is looking at my posts, liking them and commenting. If it's someone who consistently is liking, or I have thanked before, like, you know, I've sent them a message saying, thanks so much for following along on my Instagram. I noticed your name pop up on my post. I really appreciate it. Are you on a health and fitness journey? That would be an example of like one of my first messages I would send to somebody. If I see that I've sent that message already, I have no problem inviting them. Because to me, I've made that connection with them. Now I can invite them. So I always like have this sort of process of like a connection comes first, and then I can invite them. Because if they're still watching us, if they're still like engaging on our content, they obviously like it. So I'm going to invite them, and I have no like problem inviting people who continually watch my stuff. So right there, I'm able to quickly like connect with people and invite. So some days my invites, I might not do any. I might just strictly be connecting. And then other days I'm inviting like a ton of people because it's people that I've already connected with. But then other days it's people that I've never connected with. So then I'm connecting more. So does that make sense? It's like this ebb and flow of like connecting and inviting. What I always struggle with when coaches will say to me, well, how many people do you invite a day? Or how many people are you connecting with a day? Well, that's individual, and it all depends on what's going on my social media. If I have lots of people that I've connected with, I'm going to invite lots of people. So I hope that kind of makes sense. If I'm going like too fast and over your head, please let me know, because I just kind of get excited about this stuff and then I just start rambling. And then I do the same thing with my stories as well. So, I see some questions coming in. I'll just finish this part. I do the exact same thing with my stories. So I'll look at who is viewing my stories, and I'll maybe message like 5 to 10 people a day who are watching my stories, and just like my message changes all the time to them. I might just simply say like, thanks so much for checking out my stories. Aren't they fun? I always get so addicted to watching other people's stories. So thanks for following along. Or I'll send them an invite, depending if we've talked before. But this is like my favorite business building activity, is this inviting and connecting. I just find it fun to like click on somebody's name and be like, ooh, have we chatted before? Because if we've chatted before, you're getting an invite from me. Or if it's someone like brand new, I'm like, oh, this is my chance to connect with them. This is my chance to build a relationship with this person, because I know then that I'm going to be able to invite them maybe in a few days, or maybe next week, or maybe next month. So have fun with this business building activity, because this is key. And I think for people who don't see their businesses moving forward, it's because they're missing this piece. They're missing the connecting, and they're missing the inviting. And you have to do both. Too many times coaches will send me like a screenshot of their, like, I don't know how to proceed with this this message, and like with this conversation. And I mean, they're like talking about dogs and the weather, and like it's gotten so off track. I'm like, you can't go back to, oh, do you want to join my challenge group? So you have to be strategic too in how you're connecting. Like, I'm connecting with this person because I have something to offer them. So I'm not necessarily like looking for a new bestie who also has 4 kids. Like, I make it very like to the point. Like, when I'm connecting with someone, I always ask the question, are you into health and fitness too? Because it just kind of cuts to the chase. Like, if we're going to keep connecting, I want it to be based around health and fitness. I don't want to start talking about like where they live and where they holiday and, you know, the mountain they skied on 3 years ago. Like, I don't really want to get into all of that stuff, because this is a business building activity and I'm moving my business forward. So kind of like ask yourself, like, God, is this conversation gone off like a whole other direction? It's really hard to pull it back in to be talking about what we have to offer. And don't be afraid to ask somebody if they're into health and fitness. If they're following you, they should know that you have something to offer them already. And if they can't tell that by following you, then you need to start working on like your social media presence and make sure that you are showing people that you're into health and fitness and that you have something to offer them. I'm just going to quickly check the comments here. Okay, so it sounds like everybody's sort of struggling with the invite, and I think that it's just you overthink it. You totally overthink it. Don't worry about having a script. Your invite should be like 2 sentences. Like, hey, I keep noticing your name pop up on my Instagram. Have you ever thought about doing what I'm doing? Like, honestly, simple as that. Or like, what's another good one that I sometimes use? Hey, I keep seeing you watching my stories. Are you just an amazing supporter, or are you interested in hearing more about what I do? Like, just start sending messages like that, and it might feel really, really awkward and unnatural when you send something like that, especially like if you haven't been inviting. It's going to feel like really weird, but then it's just going to feel easier. You send that out 10 to 20 times a day, every day for a week. Can you imagine what would happen to your business? Even if you had like 5 of those people respond to you in 1 week, that's like 5 new leads that you have from that week. Because, I mean, if you send out 10 messages, maybe 1 or 2 people are going to respond. It's a numbers game. So don't ever look at the no's or the lack of response. Like, I never go back to see, oh, did they respond or did they see my invite yet? Like, I do not care. I send these messages out and I keep going. I keep going. I've never gotten discouraged by the lack of response or the no's, because I get just as many as everybody else. Like, the more messages you send, the more no's you're going to get. And you have to just put your blinders on and not even care about those. Like, just keep moving forward. Even if you tell yourself that you're working this business for somebody else, like, pretend you're someone's assistant and you have been instructed to send out 20 invites to people who are watching your Instagram stories, and just send them out. Like, disconnect yourself from the outcome. And if that means you pretend you're an assistant, pretend you're an assistant. That's fine. I used to do that. Okay, so then what I do after I've done my connections and my inviting, I go to my follow-ups. You have a follow-up system, whether that is pen and paper or like a fancy Google like whatever you call those things. I'm not very good on like systems like that. My connection builder. That's what I've been using for a couple of years. Yeah, 2 years, I think now, for my follow-ups. But use whatever works for you. And pen and paper worked for me for like 2 or 3 years of this business. So it can work for you too. Any system will work as long as you actually do the work. Your system will work. So then you do your follow-ups. For me personally, for my follow-ups, and this is what I teach my team as well, nobody gets into my follow-up system until they are interested in what I have to offer. So let's say I invite 5 people today in my business building hours. I'm not keeping track of those people. Like, that's a huge waste of time in my opinion. I only keep track of someone if they come back to me and say, yeah, I'd love information, or if somebody comments on a CTA, or if somebody like reaches out to me and asks for more information, those people get put into my follow-up system, because I don't want to like clog up my follow-up system with people who actually don't ever want me to follow up with them. Like if you're inviting someone and they don't respond, I personally wouldn't follow up with that person. Like a lack of response is kind of like a door shut. But if that person doesn't respond to an invite but continues to watch your stories, I would just connect with them again. Like, hey, I keep seeing you watching my stories. I hope you're doing well. Like I would keep connecting with them, but I'm not going to keep inviting them over and over again, because I have the mindset of attract, don't chase. And I remind myself of that every single day. I'm like, Megan, attract, don't chase. Chasing does not work ever. So it's my connection builder. It's like I don't know, like it's like a tracking thing. You can Google it, my connection builder. Yeah, it's not an app. It's like a program, I guess. So once you invite people, is it to a challenge group that you start? I guess I'm confused on how to get them started. So it all depends. And I'm going to go into how I sort of like plan my month, and that determines what I'm inviting to. So for instance, right now I'm inviting to coaching because I have a sneak peek that started today. So my focus has been coaching. Like my social media content, if you were to look at it, is really primarily focused on coaching right now. My stories are focused on coaching because I am inviting to the coaching opportunity. But then I'm going to flip it because I have my new Ultimate Portion Fix. I call it a mentorship. It's starting in a couple weeks. So then I'll be starting to promote that. So that's what I'll be inviting to. So make sure you know what you're inviting to. That means taking a look at your month and figuring out, okay, does my upline have a sneak peek this month? Do I have a challenge group start date? Because if you don't have a challenge group to run, then you don't have anything to invite to, right? So you've got to like pick a challenge group start date if you don't have one, or if your upline has one that you can be adding to. So I hope that answers that question. So make sure you know what you're inviting to. Okay. So the other thing then, once you've done your follow-ups, and this includes, like my follow-up list includes my challengers and my coaches as well. So, you know, I'm making sure that I'm touching base with my active customers and coaches. And then you want to make sure that you are growing your following. And I'm not going to go into this because that would be like literally a whole other call, but you need to make sure you're growing your following. Whether you're on Instagram or Facebook, if you're not adding to your network, you are in a dead end business. Like it's going to dry up at some point. And I remember in like my first month of like really working the business, I was like, holy crap. I'm like reaching out to people every single day to connect with them. I'm going to run out of people real fast because I had like 150 friends like on Facebook. So you have to make sure that you are like really adding to your network, however you choose to do that. And there are millions of ways to add to your network, whether you are paying for it or not paying for it. If your upline doesn't have training for that, then just go to YouTube because you can find it on YouTube for sure. And then I clear out my inbox. So if you haven't realized, I have not done that yet. So sometimes when we sit down to do our work, we get in here and we go into Messenger and we're like, ooh, okay. And we start talking to people in Messenger and we're talking to our teammates. Maybe we're answering questions from challengers, and like 45 minutes or more goes by and you think you've worked. And maybe you've even like checked your notifications and you've checked into your team page and you've checked into your challenge group and you checked on your best friend, and like literally a huge chunk of time has gone by, and you say to yourself that you've been working, but you actually have not done anything to move your business forward. So the last thing I do in my business building activities is I check. So I am strategic about my inbox too, because I don't want to just immediately jump on my messages If I have just sent out a bunch of connecting messages or a bunch of invites, I'm not going to touch them right yet, because I like have stuff I got to do and I don't want to get into a back and forth conversation. So I have to like tell myself, like, Megan, take a deep breath. These people are not going anywhere. If they are interested, they're still going to be interested later today. Like, no worries. I seriously have to say this to myself, because I think we can all get so hung up on like, I have to respond now. Like they wrote back, I need to respond. And we don't. Like, we don't. I'm giving you permission. So I will like kind of triage my inbox and see like, what should I respond to first? My coaches' questions aren't a priority. They have Google, they have YouTube, they have team chats that they can be asking questions in. So I do go through all of my messages, but I'm careful about which ones I start responding to right away. So I'll do that in Facebook and Instagram, and I kind of like clear out my inbox. And then I can say to myself, I have done my business building activities. I have moved my business forward. Even if I do not get back on social media for the rest of the day, for like 24 hours even, I know that I've moved my business forward. And when you can tell yourself that, you will have like this huge sense of relief. Like, oh my God, I'm a rock star. I've moved my business forward. And literally those things that I just talked about, they should not take you more than like an hour or 2 hours. I have timed this and I have gone through these things, and it does not take a long chunk of time. The business building activities don't. The checking your notifications and, going in your team message threads and going in your challenge groups, those things take more time. But the business building activities, you can get done in 1 hour. I promise you, if you're focused, like really focused. Okay. Do I get a lot of other business pages follow? I don't know. To be honest, I don't even look at who follows me. I'm really bad for tracking that kind of stuff. If it's a business, like not a person, I wouldn't invite them. Yes, your inbox and groups used to be first. I used to be the same way. Like, that's what I thought I had to do to move my business forward. And then I felt like I was moving my business forward and I wasn't. So definitely the success tracker, like this, you guys, is everything that I'm talking about. It's just like this. I wish they had this a long time ago. That would have made things a lot easier for all of us. Okay, so that's kind of like what I do first thing in the morning, and then I just get everything done out of the way, and then I usually just like walk away from my computer. So if you're home all day with your kids, or you're a stay-at-home mom, you need to like do your shit and then walk away and be done. Otherwise, you're going to become like this anxious person that's like this all day long and like not even living your life anymore, or even seeing your children. Trust me, I've been there. Then in the afternoon, like after I've gotten the business building activities done, I look at the rest of my to-do list and I'm like, okay, what is high priority for me today? Sometimes that means I'm having a one-on-one call with one of my coaches, or I'm like diving into Ultimate Portion Fix videos because I still have not done my certification because I keep putting it off. So it's like figuring out like these other things that we need to get done and carving out the time to do that. Or maybe it's like you're gone all day and you like literally don't have anything else to do in the afternoon because you're away from home. That's fine too, because you've carved out time in your day to do your business building activities. But I just kind of wanted to give you like a glimpse into what my afternoon looks like. And it's usually like kind of doing a specific, like creating a training or, setting up my sneak peek into coaching, that kind of thing. And then of course, when my kids get home from school, I really try to be intentional about not being on my phone and stuff, but that is easier said than done. And I'll never pretend that I am that mom who can put everything away and focus only on her children, because I would be lying. That is not me. I'm a work in progress. But then in the evening, I will take a little bit of time and I'll look at my inbox again and I sort of triage it again. I'm a nurse, so I use that lingo, but I'll look at like, what does does everything have to be responded to tonight? Probably not. But what does have to be responded to tonight, or what do I want to respond to tonight? Otherwise, it can wait till tomorrow morning when I'm doing my business building activities. So at like tonight, when I get off this call, I'm not going to all of a sudden like dive into a bunch of conversations with people, because I want to go to bed at a good, like a decent time. That's important to me. You get to decide when you respond to people. Do not be a slave to your inbox. And I used to have the mindset of, I do not go to bed until my inbox is cleared. Like that was my mindset about a year ago. And I was like working myself crazy because I was nonstop working. And it's not a healthy mindset. So inbox before you go to bed at night. Okay. That is kind of like my evening. So, I mean, obviously that's like a perfect day where I don't have a life going on, but there are also days where I have to be at the hospital. I'm still a registered nurse and I work like 3 to 4 shifts a month. So if I have to work, like probably a lot of you guys, I leave the house at 6 a.m. and I don't get home until 8 p.m. And so how am I going to build my business in those pockets, right? I use my breaks at work instead of sitting in the nurses' lounge and like talking about people and like talking about our patients. I would go to the cafeteria with my laptop and I'll do some work, or I'll, get on my phone and go away from the break room. And it's amazing what kind of intentional work you can get done when you just have like a 20-minute period. But you can get a lot done on your work break. So ask yourself, are you really utilizing all of the pockets of time you have if you are working outside of the home? Are you like getting up early enough? Like if you have to leave for work at 8 a.m., there's no reason why you can't crush your business before you leave for work. Like 100%. If you want this business to work, you will do it first thing in the morning, or you'll do it late at night. For me, I would just always rather do things in the morning. But there should not be any excuse. Like you cannot tell me that you're too busy for this business. You'll have to instead say, I don't actually want to work this business, because that's like the deeper truth of it. And that's like a big gut check that I always give my team, but it is the truth of it. If you aren't moving your business forward and showing up daily, it's simply because you don't want it badly enough and you don't believe that you can do this. And belief is like a whole other topic I could do. Having that belief is really what's stopping you from getting to where you want to be, for sure. Okay, when you do your virtual workout with your team, what program? So I use Zoom for, well, we're on Zoom, obviously. I use Zoom for our workouts, and you can actually create a link that anybody can jump on to it at any time. Like, how tonight you probably had to wait until Marie was on before you could get on. You can actually create a link that anybody can get on at any time. So we have just like a team workout link. And there's people that are on that thing at like 5 a.m. There's people that are on at 9 a.m., 9 p.m., like whenever. I share that with my challengers as well. They don't really get on very much, but the odd time a challenger will come on. But it's great because I'm not obligated to be on at a specific time, because sometimes like I'll work it at 6:15, other times it's 6:30. Maybe I'm going to skip a day. Like, I don't want to have to be so like, oh, I have to be on at a certain time. So that's a really cool feature. I think that's a paid version. Because I think without a paid version, you can only do a Zoom for like 30 minutes or something, which is what I used to do when I was a new coach and I had like 5 coaches on my team. So I would do a Zoom call, and after it would be like 29 minutes, I'm like, okay, in 2 minutes, like we're going to get kicked off, but then just jump back on and we'll start again, because I was too cheap to like pay for the upgrade. Okay, I'm glad this is reassuring. Awesome. Okay, what else is on my notes here? Yeah. And then, so another thing I wanted to mention, because I think this is important, if you're working full time and you get overwhelmed with this business, like, let me know, like, how many people are working full time? I don't really know what you're like. So it's a lot. Okay. Lots are working full time. So the thing is, if you're working full time, you don't really need to worry about creating training and creating sneak peeks and like doing all the extra stuff that like leaders that have a big team are doing. And the reason why I say that is because if you're working full time, it means that you still like need the income, I'm assuming. So by the time you get to the point where you need to be creating training and creating like, push groups and like all of this extra stuff that, I have started doing now, you won't be working full time, if that makes sense. Like for the first 2 years of my business, well, really, I just started doing my own sneak peek because I was using my uplines because she was doing it. So why would I do my own when I can use hers? So don't create extra work for you if you are still working full time. You focus on your business building activities. I'm sure, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm sure your upline has the resources and the push groups and the training and all of that stuff. So don't busy yourself with thinking that you need to come up with all of this stuff. You don't. You're working full time. You have only small pockets. You need to invite and connect and follow up and show up on social media every single day. That is what you need to do. So don't focus on all the fancy stuff. If you're doing team calls for your team, like if you've got a small team, don't do them weekly. Like they don't need a weekly team call. They have training. They have other people's team calls they can watch. Don't create fancy slides or fancy things for your team page if you're working full time. Do you know what I mean? There will be a time when you have the time to do that stuff, but it's not right now. So you focus on your business and building it so that you can, like, so that you don't have to work full time, and then you can do all this other stuff. Do the shit that matters. Yes. Okay. So then I'm almost done, you guys. I'm sorry. So weekends are really, really important. And if you're working full time, weekends are like super important for yourself. So be sure that you are being intentional about your week and taking like advantage of them. I still take advantage of my weekends big time because no, I'm not working full time, but it's like I'm parenting 4 children on my own and working as a nurse here and there. So it's definitely, I need that extra time on the weekend. So my morning routine stays the same. I still get up, even on Sunday mornings when most people maybe sleep in, I still get up at 5 a.m. and I'm in this office. And that is really, really important to me. I still keep my 5 to 6 a.m. for myself. But on the weekends, I'll push my workout a bit because I don't have to get kids to school, so I can work out whenever. So in that, chunk of time before my kids are up and alive for the day, I am very strategic. So some things that I do on the weekends that are going to set yourself up for success for the week. Schedule out your challenge group content the whole week. I usually do that on Sunday mornings. I'll schedule it all out because there's nothing more annoying than it being like Tuesday night and realizing you have nothing scheduled for your challenge group tomorrow morning. Like that's then when you become doing this like busy work. Challenge group content is not a business building activity. So don't tell yourself that it is, because it's not. So take some time on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning and schedule that out. You can do this in like 30 to 40 minutes because I've timed it. You can keep it simple. Keep it simple. You do not need to create epic stuff for your challengers. Keep it simple. Better yet, team up with somebody else and don't run a group on your own. I do not run my groups by myself because that's just nonsense. When we're all doing the same thing, team up with 2 of you or 3 of you or 4 of you. Take turns posting. So make sure you do that, get that out of the way, and your challenge group will run smoothly for the entire week. And then you want to start thinking about your content for the week. So this is like Sunday mornings. It's like one of my favorite things is to plan out all of this stuff. So I will look at my calendar and I'll see what we have going on, you know, as far as team stuff. Like, is there a launch coming up, or is there a sneak peek into coaching, or, you know, is my challenge group starting? And I'll look at the week and I'll figure out, okay, what do I want to post Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week? Like, just an idea. I'm not creating content, but I'm writing down an idea. So I have it in my planner, but, and this takes like 3 minutes. So for instance, Monday, I'm going to do a coaching CTA. Tuesday, I'm going to talk about coaching a little bit more and just do like a little jab because I have my coaching sneak peek today. You can do a transformation one day. Do a recipe one day. Do like a funny mom quote one day. Like, don't go overboard with quotes because that's like what Pinterest is for. Do a post about your story. Just like, we all have a story. You should know what your story is. If you don't know what your story is, you got to figure out what your story is. Do a post one day about your story. And then, I don't know how many that is. Like, that's like 5 or 6. And then do maybe a post just like a funny, like lifestyle type post. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, don't overthink this stuff. And pretty much every week it's the same stuff. The next week I'll do a transformation. I'll do a funny mom quote. I'll maybe do like, you know, a picture of me with my coffee cup and just talking about how much I love life. I'll maybe talk about the personal development book I'm reading in a post. I'll take a picture of my dinner and, you know, offer the recipe, give it away. I'll talk about my story. Like, you being the same stuff every single week, but we just put a little bit of a different spin. So if you sit for 20 minutes on a Sunday morning and you plan out, okay, Monday I'm going to do this, Tuesday I'm going to do this, Wednesday I'm going to do this, and you just have one idea for the rest of the week, you won't believe how much easier it will be when in the morning before your workout, while you're procrastinating, you can quickly type up a post because you already know what you're going to talk about because you did that on the weekend. So that's why I'm easily able to like quickly throw up content. And like this morning, I already knew what I was going to talk about because I had planned it out a couple days ago. And like tomorrow, I already know what I'm going to talk about. I just have to write it, but I'm not going to overthink it. So you have to be intentional. You have to plan a little bit. And then take some pictures ahead of time. Pictures stress me out. Like I should have just been a blogger, I think, because I hate the whole like picture thing. I think that's why I resisted Instagram for so long, because everyone's like, oh, it's all about the picture. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to suck at this. So take some pictures beforehand. Like if your hair looks good one day, put on 6 outfits and go into 6 different areas of your house, or go like to the mall or outside, or like go to the lake or wherever and just snap a bunch of different pictures. Like your photo does not need to be like today's photo, for instance. You know what I mean? Even if you're talking about your awesome workout, maybe that picture was taken 3 days ago. Nobody's gonna know. Like, it's okay. You can have like a stock, like a bunch of images on your phone, so that in the morning when you're quickly writing up your post before you go to work, you can just grab a photo that you took 6 days ago or a month ago, or like recycle a photo. There's nothing wrong with that. So just have some stuff planned so that you're not scrambling, or worse yet, doing absolutely nothing. Okay, talked about that. And then also on the weekends, like I figure out my meal plan for the week. I know this doesn't have anything to do with coaching, but if we're falling off track in our own health and fitness, we cannot be a successful coach. So I plan out my meals for the week. I pick 3 or 4 dinner recipes from Fixate that I'm going to make that week. because I know then that I'm going to have content for my social media because I'm making a fixate recipe, and I, write out my grocery list, and I do some meal prep. Like, I do all that stuff that we tell our challengers to do. So make sure you're doing that stuff too. And just like stay on the ball, like know what's coming up for you this week, and just like make sure you've got your ducks in a row before Sunday night hits. And then every month I really take the time to reflect on how that month went. So I don't know if you guys are into planners. I never was until I got this one. So this is a law of attraction planner. And it is like, oh, if you guys have one, I hope you are obsessed with it as much as I am. But this has like changed my life, I swear, because it has a whole section of where you're like forced to reflect on your month that just happened. So this weekend, I took a big chunk of Sunday morning and I reflected on my month and what went well. Did I reach my goals? Like, are you setting goals? Are you figuring out if you hit those goals? If you did, awesome. Repeat it. If you didn't, figure out why you didn't hit those goals and like course correct. So I love reflecting on my month. So I hope that you guys have all done that and reflected on March. If you haven't, take some time this week to reflect on it. What worked? What didn't work? Did you have a social media plan? If you didn't have a social media plan and you didn't hit your goals, that's probably why, because you weren't intentional at all. You just kind of like showed up and hoped for the best. But make sure that you reflect on that, because that's going to mean that you'll see success moving forward. I also reward myself. So I am like really big on budgeting, and like it's funny because I started making more money than I've ever made in my whole life, yet I didn't actually have more money than I've ever had. So I was like, whoa, something's like not right here. So my husband and I really sat down and were like, let's figure out like our budget and like be really smart with our money. So part of that was me just not going out and buying whatever I wanted to buy whenever. So I reward myself with something at the end of the month. Like if I want new oils for my diffuser, I wait until the end of the month to buy those oils. If I want to go shopping and buy some new clothes, well, I'm waiting until the end of the month, and I'll reward myself with those new clothes or a new book or like whatever. It's nothing extravagant, like literally just like a book off of Amazon. But I won't let myself have those things until I've reached my goals at the end of the month. So make sure that you are like doing that for yourself. Like hold yourself accountable. Don't rely on anybody else to hold you accountable. So like I dangle my own carrot in front of me. I'm like, once you hit your goals, you can go order that new book that you want. So it works for me. And also like when I'm reflecting on my month, I really look at, okay, who are my coaches on my team? So this is for you if you have a team of like working coaches. I think about, okay, who do I really want to focus on this month? Because I believe that what you focus on and like who you focus on is like where you're going to see the most growth. So I sort of figure out, okay, I think these few people have a lot of like, I'm losing my train of thought, but they can, yes, thank you. So potential. Yes. Thank you, everyone. So I will really like focus on them and like, make sure I'm touching base with them. And it's amazing when you start to focus on certain people, you see their businesses grow. So I figure out, okay, who are my runners this month? Like, who do I see the potential in? Who am I going to work with? And I'm really strategic about who I do one-on-ones with on my team as well. If a coach wants to have a one-on-one with me and she has not hit Success Club like the month before, I'm not having a one-on-one call with her, because she needs to just do the very basic business building behaviors, and that doesn't require a one-on-one. So if somebody wants to like strategize with me and they haven't hit Success Club before, like in the past, there's no strategizing that needs to take place. You just need to get to work. You need to invite and connect and follow up and show up. That doesn't take strategizing. That takes like a 30-second voice message on Facebook. So if I will have one-on-one calls with my coaches who are actually showing up and doing the work, I will 100% carve out time for those coaches no matter what. But I'm not going to put energy into coaches who aren't showing up and doing the work. So, yeah, I think that's kind of it. So if you guys have questions, I am happy to answer any questions. Hopefully that made sense.
That was so great. I think everybody's like, oh my God, Megan. I don't know. I didn't see questions in the chat. I think you covered all of them as you went through, but you guys, if you do have questions for Megan, make sure you ask right now, because she is an open book. Obviously, you just shared very, very generously with us. And like, I just want to show everybody really quick here. I've been coaching for 4 years. I've got 6 pages of notes from this call. Like, be a lifelong learner, you know, and you can always learn things from people. I love how you mapped out your day, and I love how you mapped out like being intentional with your weekends and having your consistent daily wake up. That's so key. It reminded me, actually, there was a couple of us on this call. We just went to Brennan Burchard's High Performance Academy, and he had a quote. He said, when you own your responsibilities, your work becomes your joy. And everything that you said on this call just reminded me of that quote, because it's so true. You show up, you are disciplined, and because of that discipline, you have created freedom for yourself. So that was just amazing.
Thank you.
Morgan says the best way to grow this business is simple and doing the things that actually matter.
Yes. And I just think it's so easy to get off track, because now with social media, like, oh my God, like there's just so much, and you almost feel like you need to be on all the time. And this is still something I'm working through, because like, I think that's why I was resistant to Instagram and to Instagram stories, because it's like, oh my gosh, like you have to be on all the time, and that's exhausting and not really in alignment with how I want to feel. But you just have to keep things simple and just keep reminding yourself at the end of the day, you just show up, become better, share that with others, and invite them. And that is it. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to worry about anything else. Like, that is like the basics of this business. So keep it super, super simple. When I was working full time, I would like, I don't know if you guys have ever read The Morning Miracle or Miracle Morning or whatever book that is. Like, that was my very first book I read as a coach, and I started implementing that. That was how I got into my morning routine, and all of that stuff he talked about was so foreign to me, like affirmations, and like I just didn't even understand why I needed to have alone time in the morning until I started doing it. But in there, he talks about do like a 6-minute morning routine. So that's what I do on the days that I work. I still come in here and like I just sit in the quiet, even if it's for like a minute and a half. And I just like give myself that time and decompress. And I just try to like do that to myself throughout the day, even like when I'm driving. Of course, you know, we're always encouraged to listen to podcasts and all of that while we're driving, but it's also nice to sit in silence too, because we can just constantly be filling our brain with so much stuff that's nothing's even going in anymore. And sometimes I have to just like say, okay, no more podcasts. Like, I just need to sit in silence in my vehicle and just like think and absorb what I'm actually feeling. So, you know, don't be afraid to just like turn everything off and just sit with like what you're feeling.
I second that.
I don't know if I even answered what she asked. When you get up early to mornings, and then, so I don't work out on the days that I work as a nurse. I just don't. I am committed to my health and fitness, but I also am okay with working out 4 or 5 days a week. That's me. I'm all about being sustainable in life, and working out at like 4 a.m., you know, isn't sustainable for me. So I just know that. But it all depends on what your goals are, right? If I had a lot of weight to lose, it might be different, but this has always been about health for me, not weight loss. So my goals might be different than what yours are. And then my business building activities I would do in my breaks. And then when I get home from work, I know that I'm just going to have to carve out some time when I get home. It's a sacrifice. I used to come home and watch an hour of The Bachelor. So I can come home and carve out an hour of work. So.
That's so true. I just love how candidly you show up. I think it's so important, and it's something I try to advocate. Like, you just show up, you're like, this is me. I don't like Instagram. I don't like the fancy schmancy shit. I just show up and prove the products. I invite people, I connect with people, I follow up like a mofo, and I just do it every day. And I just think this business is so simple, and you just outlined it so beautifully. So thank you very much for doing that.
You're welcome.
Do you guys have any other questions for Megan before she goes to bed, because it's late for her right now?
Well, and I'm going to warn you too, if you watched any of my stories, there's probably a good chance that I'm going to connect with you. So just be like, oh, new people, I'm going to connect with them now. So just warning ya.
That's awesome.
But if you guys do have any questions, like, you can message me. That's totally fine.
She'll triage it, but she'll eventually get back to you.
Exactly.
Okay, Megan, thank you so much for this call. Honestly, I took a whole bunch of notes. I know that my team did. I know everybody gained a lot of value from it, and we just really appreciate you showing up, especially because I know it's 10 p.m. where you are. So thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for us.
No problem. If you guys took any pictures, can you please tag me so I can?
Yeah, here, I'll take a really quick group one. Okay, ready? Awesome. All right, you guys.
I get most of my content. I'm always like, tag me.
Here, Megan, you smile. I'll take one picture of you.
Okay.
You look great. Awesome. Okay, thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Good night, guys.
Take care, everybody. I'll put the recording up.